2, 1. We are live. And we're glad you're with us. I'm Andy Andrews. You've joined us on the Blue Plate Special. And it is going to be special today. We've got a funny show. I'm just telling you. Man, it is hot as a dog here. How are you doing? It is hot. So, how is it in Pasco, Washington? And did you enjoy the professional notice this morning? Yes, you did. Hey, if you're on Facebook, we would urge you to click your notification button, and don't forget to turn the notifications on your phone. That way you'll be notified when we go live. I'd like to say hi to the LinkedIn people, the YouTube people. Press a subscribe button there on YouTube. And if you're joining us on wisdomharbor.com, congratulations. Twitter folks, good to see you and your captain, Brian Backen. Heather Olson, good morning. You shared in Utah. Tammy Nance from the beautiful Shenandoah Valley. Elaine Pennell from Arkansas. Caleb Driscoll from Missouri. And yeah, pops right up on your phone. Dina Kilpatrick, good afternoon. Shared on this very hot Alabama day. It is hot as a dog. I don't know how hot dogs are, but that just seems like the kind of thing to say. Shafiq Mashish, I think that's how you say it. Dave Larder, hey, from Phoenix. A balmy high of a dry 105. Wow. Yeah. And so the Life Skills Project with Kevin, you're having a great time with that. That is awesome. Judith in Washington, you're doing good. Janice Burrell, happy Flag Day. Chris Comer, friends and neighbors, how you doing? Chris Comer, life skills coach. Margaret Davis Hope, happy Flag Day. And so I'm so glad you enjoy the interview with the Isaacs. They're my favorites too. And that's on the Professional Noticer. And just make sure you watch that. Christy, hey, how are you doing? My sister, Christy, and my sister, Irene Robinson. So, somebody tell her that's the Libyan flag. Which flag?
It looks like under Christy, she put little like icons or whatever, and it looks like the American flag, but when there's only one star, I believe that's the Libyan flag.
Yeah, well, Christy, that's my family for you. Oh my God, well, okay. Irene Robinson, Oak Grove, Louisiana. Joy Gregory from Montana. You know, we are about to enlist your help here, everybody. We want to make this a really big show, and we want to make it a contributors show. The topic today is the dumbest thing ever said by a friend or family member. And so we've already collected a few, and we would urge you to join in with us. You know, hey, maybe Little M can get my phone out of the green room, because I saw that Jill Dorman texted me one of the dumbest things. And so I just want to, that was just last minute. We've already put some up and got them ready, but you get your dumbest things going. And here you go. Thank you.
Oh, it was Liberia, not Libya.
Oh, it's Liberia, not Libya. Okay. All right. Let's see what Jill said. Jill said she's not sure this is the dumbest thing or the rudest thing, but somebody said to Jill, I wonder why you're so fat. Your mother's not fat, and your sister's not fat. I wonder why you're so fat. Yeah, well, that would be the rudest thing unless your husband said it. Then it would be the dumbest thing. Okay, so the The McEwens, Bob and Liz McEwen, did they just land from Israel or in Israel? From Israel. And they're listening. Great. Awesome. Listen, this is going to be a great show. And Bob, with his years in politics, has heard some dumb things. And so that's what we're talking about today. Some of the dumbest things heard by your friends and family members. Now, Bob Woodall, how are you doing? Okay, here we go. Somebody sent us one that said that their sister thought aloe vera was some European model who was hired for every cosmetic commercial because they would always say the product name with aloe vera as they showed the models in the back dancing or washing their hair or faces or whatever. And they thought that was one of them. I believe the direct quote was something to the effect of, "It's crazy how much she gets hired for literally every single one of these commercials." The model, aloe vera. Let's see, back up a little bit, Matt, so I can see the top of that. Okay, right. Somebody's coworker couldn't figure out why Alaska was cold and Hawaii was hot because, quote, "they're right next to each other on the map." You know, these are the kind of things that when somebody says something like this, you don't really know what to say. You just kind of, I think you just kind of look at them. You know, like, what? All right, here's one. Once when I took a class trip to Washington, D.C., we went to a museum and saw a reenactment of something featuring George Washington on a big screen. While we were watching, they heard two girls from the front row. One of them asked the other, "Is this real footage?" And the other replied, "No, if it was real, it would be in black and white." Oh my gosh. Kirsty, I'm sitting here trying to think of something dumb that you said, but I think the Liberian flag speaks for itself. Tammy Nance says her sweet relative, known for getting words confused, left a message for another family member saying she had just finished her eye appointment and had news. She had hemorrhoids in her eye. Needless to say, that voicemail was a keeper. Yeah, that was a keeper. Up to a very late age, my sister-in-law believed that meat was taken from an animal that was released back to the paddock to regrow the missing piece. Then the cycle repeats, she said. I mean, there's some people that I think they're too dumb to be walking around. I mean, that's just my theory. And here's Jan Andrews says, I was helping a nurse find a med that needed to be protected from light. It was in the fridge, and she was terribly concerned, hinging on very upset. I waited and said, "The light goes off when you shut the door." And her response was, "Really?" Okay, the first hotel I worked at, this is from somebody, one of our viewers, a new hotel that I worked at, so some of us were new to the industry. It was a brand new hotel, and a guest who was already checked in came up after his meal and asked if we had any sweets. And I said, "Just mints," and brought a little bowl up onto the counter. And he said, "No, I mean suites, like large guest rooms." And she says, I could have died. Okay, let's see. You know, this is just one that is just like my favorite that I heard. I told somebody one time, "Hey, if you want to take the kids over there around the corner, there's a clown." And he said, "Is it a real clown or somebody dressed up like a clown?" I also I was taking a guy named John Parker from Michigan, who I won't name because I don't want to embarrass him, but John Parker from Michigan, taking him along the beach road here, and I pointed out, right over there is an island, and he said, "Does the water go all the way around the island?" Matt, this is going off the screen here a little bit. Go up so I can see a girl in my is off the screen. It's not even on the screen. If you hadn't figured it out, we've got a teleprompter in here. I'm not smart enough to actually remember all these in a row. Well, so the teleprompter seems to be off, but that's okay because I'm off too. So we're regrowing. Yeah, Christy, my sister is watching. I think it's just great that we're doing a show on dumb things your family or your friends have said. And my sister put Happy Flag Day up there and didn't put a Liberian flag.
Christy, I'm so sorry I mentioned it. I didn't know Andy was going to razz you so hard.
Well, it's my sister.
I could have done the same thing. Honestly, I only saw that literally I think it was this morning or yesterday. Someone posted that online, and I saw someone say, "Oh, nice, Liberia."
Well, how many stars does our flag have?
Well,
50. How many stars does the Liberian flag have? 1. Okay.
Well, I could see that though with how small a little icon is on the phone. They couldn't fit 50 stars.
Are you making excuses for my sister? I mean, she's my sister.
All right, let's see if we can get this back over. Where were we? Let's see.
Okay. All right, here we go. Right?
It's synced back up.
A girl in my high school said that if she and her hypothetical husband had undesirable facial features that they didn't want to pass on to a child, like a bumpy nose, one of them would just have plastic surgery before conceiving the child. I said that with her logic, if both my partner and I chopped off our index fingers, our child would be born without index fingers. But she said that wasn't the same thing. I just, I think, we're going to have to do a show at some point on theories about dumb people and get into some depth here. I think theory number 1 would be there are more dumb people than you think there are. Tom Henley. Here's Tom Henley from Jackson, Alabama. Says, true story. Terry, my wife, asked, who's playing in the Iron Bowl this year? Now, if you're not from Alabama, you may not know that every year it's Auburn and Alabama. So, who's playing in the Iron Bowl this year? That would be Auburn and Alabama. Terry. Oh, Marcy Crosser Taylor. The gal who wanted to know why they don't put the deer crossing signs next to the schools where it's safer for them. She was serious. When Adam was little, we were driving along one time and he said, why don't the deer ever go the other way? We said, what? He said, why do they only cross the road that way? And we said, well, they don't. He said, that's what the sign says. Oh, okay. Oh, Chris Comer says Sheldon has a Flag Day episode, and it's not just for the American flag, it's for all flags. Well, that's his episode. Our Flag Day is for the American flag. I'm just saying. Chris Comer trying to suck up to my sister. Here we go. When I was a kid, I had an uncle tell me that dinosaurs and humans coexisted. When I tried to explain to him that wasn't true, he told my parents I was arguing with him and being disrespectful toward an adult, and I got in big trouble.
Ooh.
You know, there is an odd thing. Just take a little pause here. There is an odd thing that we raise our kids to be respectful of adults and be respectful of the adults. But when they're kids, we're kind of controlling the adults they're around, and so as we are teaching them to be respectful of adults, all the adults we're allowing around them actually kind of deserve their respect. But then there comes a time when they're, 15, 16, 17, they're starting to get around some adults that don't deserve their respect. And there's a little gap there before they get enough confidence and learn how to disagree, I guess. But I've seen kids get cowed by adults that they knew the adults were wrong, and there's obviously a way to be respectful and talk about that. But here we go. I went to a friend's house and saw his carbon monoxide detector by an open window. I asked him why it was there, and he said, the smoke detector said, get to air. So I moved it so it would stop going off. I mean, how's that guy still alive? Somebody says, one of my college roommates wandered in while we were watching Jaws. It's the final 15 minutes. The shark is tearing the orca apart. It gets to the scene where the shark jumps on the stern of the boat, and the roommate says, it's pretty neat how they trained that shark to do that. And he was serious. You know the James Bond movie Casino Royale? You know which one I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Where he falls in love with Vespa.
Yep.
And they're in Venice, Italy. When I saw that, I just bring myself even with my sister. When I saw that, and there were these buildings in Venice are being destroyed and blown up. When I saw that, I said to my wife, how much did that cost to get permission and buy permission to blow up those buildings in Venice? And she looked at me like I had lost my mind, which I guess I had. But, I'm still in that movie mindset where they're actually doing the stunts. And it's not some guy sitting there on his iPad making buildings look like they're blowing up. I mean, what kind of stuntman is a nerd? So that's my excuse for being dumb anyway. Thomas McMillan says, growing up, my cousin thought the numbers on the football uniforms was the age of the players. Here's somebody says, my daughter is very bright. She's 32 now. When she was about 20, she told me her iPhone was almost full, and she could tell because it felt heavier. Yeah, she's very bright. Very bright. Now, I actually heard this one yesterday was at the pharmaceutical convention speaking to the Alabama pharmaceutical people, and Rachel, a lady named Rachel, had just had twins, and somebody asked her, what were they? And Rachel said, a boy and a girl. And they said, oh, are they identical? And I asked her about that, and she said, you would not believe how many times I've been asked that. Her twins are a year old. And not believe. Are they identical? Yeah. Huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Jen Andrews, again, she says she ordered crab legs at a seafood restaurant and didn't receive the main utensil for opening them. I politely asked the waitress for crackers while squeezing my hand open and closed. Sure enough, she brought me a bowl of Lance crackers. I want some crackers. Some crackers. I wonder, is that a regional thing, Jen? So I was with somebody the other day, and they said, hey, mash the button. And I thought, that's Alabama. I say that, mash the button. Mash the button. I guess everywhere else they say push the button, but mash. Heather Olson in Utah says she went to Olive Garden, and the server asked her stepson if he wanted soup or salad. He thought she said super salad, so he said, sure. Okay. My husband and I once happened to be staying at a hotel where there was a total lunar eclipse. Years later, I'm still kind of surprised that no one but us seemed to care enough to go outside and watch. Anyway, when it was almost total, a young woman walking by stopped and asked hesitantly, is there something wrong with the moon? Yes, a total eclipse. So it's disappearing in the sky. Here we go. I was in a club, and they had calendars on the table that listed all the bands and what nights they were playing. I overheard a girl say, that band TBA plays here a lot, don't they? Yes, they do. Please welcome, to be announced. Here's somebody who's on a hike, and it was particularly windy. They motioned to the group that it would be better when they were protected by the trees, as the wind would lessen. And a friend of a friend who was with us stops and says, wait, don't the trees make the wind? That sounds like such a dummy thing to say. I mean, that's one of those things that when you find out later that you've put up a Liberian flag, and that you just kind of feel dumb. Here you go. Somebody ordered a cheeseburger, and the waitress said, we're all out of cheeseburgers, but I guess we could put some cheese on a hamburger for you. That's my favorite, I think.
That's funny.
Man, I had some buddies that used to, they had a family band. It was all brothers. They used to tour around Florida. And I have remembered this story forever because they kept talking about it, because it was one of those moments, when you just have something crazy happen and then everybody keeps bringing it back up for years. So they stopped at some drive-in in Florida, and it was home of the original Cheese Buster. And so there's like 5 brothers in a line they're up there ordering. Of course, they're brothers, so they're having to pay for their own. Nobody's going to pay for any other brother, you know. And Lee walks up and says, "I'll have a cheeseburger and fries before he can get anything else." She said, "Would that be a cheeseburger or a cheese buster?" It's a cheeseburger. And the next brother goes up and he orders a cheeseburger, and she goes, "Would that be a cheeseburger or a cheese buster?" And she does that with every brother. And so now, anytime anybody orders a cheeseburger in front of us, every one of them will go, "Would that be a cheeseburger or a cheese buster?" Here was a dry spell and no rain. And a coworker said they need to send the space shuttle up because every time they send it up, it penetrates the atmosphere and makes it rain. See, that sounds like something you tell your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, I love when, and I actually do this with anybody, when you're just out and you see the jet with the contrail coming behind it. Try this sometimes. Just say to the person next to you, go, "It's going to rain." And they'll go, "Really? How you know?" "Well, see that? That's how the Indians used to tell it was going to rain." You wouldn't believe how many people go. Okay, so there's somebody that was petting this lady's pet rabbit, and the person said, "Is this real rabbit fur?"
That's just stupid.
Yeah, that's not dumb. That's stupid. All right, my coworker who embellishes and lies about everything told me he's lived in every U.S. state for at least 2 years. He's 27. God, that's stupid too.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you're gonna lie about something like that. It's like, oh my God. All right. A few years ago, friends moved from Iowa to Colorado. A coworker who had a college degree asked if they had YouTube in Iowa. They were completely serious. You know, I'm sitting here reading these things, and I'm thinking of all the dumb things that I've done over and over again. Like it's like every time the electricity goes out, I know the electricity goes out, and then I'll go in a dark room and I'll hit the light switch. Oh yeah. It's
Happened yesterday at my apartment. Power went out for like 5 minutes, and I was going through.
What's going on? If these lights would work, we could get the power back on. Serena Stoll Garner says, "We were at a seafood buffet, and my cousin said he didn't know why everyone liked the boiled shrimp so well. They were too crunchy for him. Didn't know you were supposed to peel them." Yeah. I've actually heard of somebody doing that before. Jen Andrews, man, you got a lot of dumb people in your life, Jen. Your dad, Jen's dad, convinced her that he could see me on the slide at daycare because I could see the top of his office building. Well, you were a kid.
That's kind of sweet.
Yeah, that's kind of sweet. That's not really dumb. Just kind of sweet.
My parents,
Unless her dad really thought he could see her.
or my parents told me that if I ate enough broccoli, it'd put hair on my chest. And by the time I was 13 or 14, I thought they were lying. But by the time I was 20, they were right.
Really? Wow. I'm trying to think. One time my dad, we never let him forget this. We were playing Scrabble. You know how you see a word and it didn't look right to you or something. There's a word that didn't look right to my dad. Our Scrabble games were pretty combative. We challenged a lot of words. And somebody spelled Suit. And my dad jumped up and said, Suit? What kind of word is suit? What kind of word is that? We never will even forget that. Any more? Anybody got any more? Matthew? Now, Matt, you would be less than a man if you did not tell us something dumb that Ryan has said. We would think less of you. I'll just say that. We'll think less of you.
Ooh.
Matt's probably you're just going to have to think less of me.
Already starting to sweat now. I got sunburn, so it's uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hear you. Dave Larder, my uncle asked for iced tea for breakfast at a restaurant. The waitress said they only had hot tea for breakfast. He then asked for a glass with ice and a pot of hot tea. Yeah, I can see that happening. There are some people working in restaurants that they ain't got their mind on it. I mean, that's all I can say. In Nashville, every waiter or waitress you run into is a songwriter. And so, they ain't got their mind on it. So, you kind of expect some things like that. Tammy Nance says, Matt is a smart man for not throwing his wife under the bus. Yeah, Tammy? Why don't you get John on here for us? Let's find out something that Tammy has said. There are probably a lot of family things that we keep to ourselves. Now, I'll tell you, there was I wonder if I could find this real quick. We could end with this. Because this was like a collage of dumb that I saw. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this, but just talk among yourselves here while I'm trying to get this. Adam, when he was in the 4th grade, Adam was in the spelling bee. And so there was somebody from the school, and now I'm not gonna say who this was from the school, and I won't say the position that the person at the school had, but it's I've got it. I won't say the position this person at the school had, but she wasn't the principal, and she wasn't a teacher, and she wasn't a guidance counselor. The word vice comes to mind, and this was 10 years ago. So I'm sure the statute of limitations are out on this. Joy Walker says, several years ago, I was buying Macintosh apples. The cashier said, I thought that was the name of a computer. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. We've got, Chris Comer says, our daughter told our grandson if he ate his green beans, he would turn into Spider-Man. Of course, he didn't. So he goes home, and his mom is trying to get him to eat green beans. He tells his younger brother, if you eat yours and turn into Spider-Man, then I'll eat mine. He was 6. Okay, so here we are. We're at school. This is 10 years ago. And Adam is in the spelling bee. And he has won for his class. And so now he is in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade spelling bee, where a kid from every class comes to win for the school. Okay? And so the vice principal, who I hope is like moved on somewhere now and not watching, the vice principal is the person that is reading the spelling words for the kids. And this was, you know, as a person who speaks, I'm kind of I guess an entertainer. I write, I observe human nature. I love great things. I love to see great things, and I love disasters. Either one of them entertains me. I'm fine with either. Just don't bore me. Just don't give me something mediocre. And I think a lot of people are like that. I think that's why, you know, the bull riding and NASCAR exist. I mean, don't tell me people go to NASCAR just to watch them go around and around. I mean, you know, they're waiting for wrecks. They don't want anybody to get hurt, but if there's a wreck, they don't want to miss it. So this spelling bee was one of the most pleasurable experiences of my life, because I'm watching kids who do not want to be disrespectful, and I'm watching faculty who don't want to call the hand of the vice principal. I'm watching parents who are just about to come out of their skin. So, here's what happened. And I wrote these down as she was doing them, because I just thought this is too good to miss. I'm going to want to tell people about this one day, and this is the day. She said, the word is art. This little girl says, art, A-R-T, art. She goes, no, I'm sorry. Have a seat. Little girl says, well, what's the word? How do you spell it? She goes, A-R-E-N''T, art. So this was the first clue that something's going on, right? This little girl, she looked over at her mama, and her mama don't know what to say. So then the next word she says is theater. Theater. And I'm like, God, we are in Alabama, aren't we? Yes, child, spell theater. And so then the kid spells theater. The next word was acorn. Acorn. And the little boy said, could you use that in a sentence? She said, there are acorns falling off the tree. Acorn? Yes, acorn. So he got that right. But the next word was similar. Now, I always thought the word was pronounced similar, but she said similar. This is the vice president of the school doing the spelling bee for the kids. And some some kid just like gets it wrong because they didn't know what word she's talking about. Then the next word, and I'll just tell you what the word was before I tell you how she pronounced it, because she's reading off a list. Okay, so the word was enviable, but she said the word is inviolable. And the child looked at her just like spooked. So I said, "Can you use that in a sentence?" And she turns to the guidance counselor and says, "Could you use that in a sentence?" And the guidance counselor gets up and says, "Can I see the word inviolable on your?" And so she looks, she goes, "Oh, okay, let me use it in a sentence. It is enviable to live in certain neighborhoods." Didn't call her on it, just kind of just corrected her midstream. And she said, wait, where is it? Did I lose this? Oh, here we go. And so the vice principal said, "No, what did you say?" And the guy just kind of said, enviable. And I wrote this down because she turned to the kids and the parents and said, "There are double pronunciations."
Oh my God.
I read that. There are double pronunciations. Okay, so then, three more. She said, moral. And so a little girl goes, M-O-R-A-L, moral. And the vice principal said, "I'm sorry, that's wrong. Have a seat." Well, now parents are going, what? You know, and the guidance counselor whispers something, and she says, "Moral, M-O-R-A-L-E. Yes, that would be morale." Yeah. Okay. The next word, she says, these are actually, it wasn't one after the other here. These were spread in there. She says, infamous. Infamous. And I'm sitting over there, I'm laughing. And I'm like, yeah, she's gonna be infamous when this is through.
Yep.
She's gonna be infamous for a long time. And then the last word, and I still can't believe this one, expungy. Expungy. I pronounce it expunge, but she pronounced it expungy. And we wonder why our kids don't test well. I mean, holy cow. Okay, I mean, that's perfect on a show of dumb things
Yeah,
that people
that's-
said. That's okay. Closing down now. Dina Kilpatrick said, "Once a lady babysitting had the same name as my 2-year-old sister. She received a phone call, and my brother asked which one the call was for." or the 2-year-old. Oh, God. Any more? We got any more? All right. Hey, thank you guys for joining us on this dumb day on the Blue Plate Special. We'll be back Thursday, and we'll be broadcasting only on wisdomharbor.com. So make sure you have your membership and have your app downloaded. It's cheap. It's less than half a gallon of gas now. I mean, it isn't that we have lowered the price, it's that the gas price has gone up. But I'm sure you figured that out because you didn't have anything listed on this show. We appreciate you being with us, and another Blue Plate Thursday. Bye-bye.